If you watch one fragrance video this year, this is the one you need to watch coming up next. Welcome back everybody to Joel the Nose. And today I'm filming what I consider the most important video I've ever filmed for my YouTube channel, Joel the Nose. And I've filmed up to this point now over 550 videos over the last almost 2 years. And this one, to me, is the most important and I think the most impactful that I've done yet. And so without further ado, the topic of this video today is why I choose to buy 30 milliliter, 50 milliliter, and smaller bottles rather than 100 milliliter bottles when I can. And let me get this and break this down very simply by the numbers. I don't know if you've ever thought about your fragrance collection. We all have, not everybody, but a lot of us have small, medium, or very large collections. And I started to look at the numbers and thinking about, because I never really thought about, well, will I ever actually smell my collection? Will I actually get through it? Will I actually enjoy all of it, right? I try to think in a minimalistic way of life rather than, I don't like being wasteful. When it comes to my general life, whether it comes to clothes, to food, to money, to material goods, I try to shy away from that in my life. So I started looking at my fragrance life and realizing that it actually kind of is not very minimalistic sometimes. And the main culprit is the size of fragrance bottles. And let me, again, break down the numbers. The average 100 milliliter bottle is going to give you about 1 year of sprays. And again, this is just average. This is based on the average person doing roughly 3 or 4 sprays per application. So if you do that every day, 3 or 4 sprays of your fragrance, that's going to give you roughly about a year, depending on the size of the atomize and all that. And then it fluctuates a little bit, but roughly about 1 year that bottle will last you if you had only one bottle in your collection and you did that every day for a year, okay? So what does that mean? Very simple math, right? I wanted to break this down easily. If you have 10 bottles in your collection of 100 milliliter size, you've got 10 years of fragrance supply. Think about that. 10, I think most people watching this channel have a lot more than 10. They've probably bought 10 this month or in the last few months or this year. Most people, again, let's say you have 30 bottles in your collection. That's 30 years of fragrance supply. If you have 100 bottles, and I know a lot of you guys do, right? And you know, I can't count myself, I can count myself in that category. You've got 100 years of fragrance supply. Imagine if you had 100 years supply of anything, of Coca-Cola or, I don't know, eggs or whatever, whatever, clothes, just think about that. It's going to go to waste. When you have that much supply of something, I don't care what it is, most of it's going to waste. Now, of course, you have the element of collecting and having a collection, but the reality is that you're never going to use all of it. I'm never going to use all of it. So that is why subconsciously for the years now, I've always tended towards finding bottles that are in the 30 milliliter to 50 milliliter size, because it just, I guess, innately knew that I would never get through my collection. But then I started looking at the actual numbers and realized this is crazy. I mean, when you're buying these big bottles and you have tons of them, unless you just want to have crap built up in your house or your apartment, taking up tons of room, when you go to move, it's a pain. After a few years, if you're not taking good care of the bottles, there is a shelf life. Whether they get sun, whether they're in a bathroom, whether they're warm, whether they're humid. I mean, there's a lot of factors that shorten the life. But even if you keep a fragrance in perfect condition, I mean, after about 10 years, okay, the reality is it's not going to smell the same. They just, it's constantly evolving in the bottle. As I talked about, it's macerating. So you have a shelf life. You have a limited amount of time and supply. So my, I guess, conclusion to all this is as follows. I come to 2 major conclusions of why I try to buy 30 and 50 milliliter bottles. First, okay, is that I will get through my bottles more quickly, right? I'm not going to have this infinite supply, and I still may have more than I need, but it's going to be a lot more manageable. And then when I run out, heck, I just go buy another bottle, okay? Yes, am I paying a little bit more per milliliter, and that is a factor, but it doesn't matter. Who cares if you save money by buying a 100 milliliter bottle and you save on the price per milliliter, but you never end up using it? So then it's just a theoretical saving of money. It's a theoretical benefit. It doesn't matter. It's like if you live by yourself and you shop at Costco and you buy, toilet paper that lasts you for years and you never use it, or some other, vitamins, or again, eggs, or whatever it may be, and you never end up using it. It's a useless benefit, all right? So that's number one. The second conclusion I draw from this, and this is what I've talked about in previous videos, is just wear more fragrance. The average person wears 3 to 4 sprays. I've said in previous videos that I wear at least 10 now. I typically go 10 to 15 sprays. I've done some videos where I did 50. That was not what I wear on a daily basis. For those of you who thought that, that was to prove a point that you can actually get away with a lot more than you're used to. It's called hyperbole, okay? It's called a dramatic example. So do 10 to 15 sprays, then you're gonna actually get to your bottles more quickly. But if you are the average person out there, which most people are, that's why averages are an average, right, of the population, you're never gonna get through all the bottles. So that's why I highly recommend, and I do it in my own personal collecting of fragrances, to buy 30 milliliter or 50 milliliter bottles. There's tons of great companies. And by the way, really kind of a third factor, it's cheaper, right? I buy mostly niche fragrances for my personal collection, as a lot of you know, and it's much cheaper, and I get in a much better entry point, especially if you're looking to get into the niche world. Buy a smaller bottle, you save money. If you like it, you buy another one later, okay? It's not the end of the world. So that is basically the point of this video, and why I feel this is the most important video I've done of the over 550 videos I've recorded so far, is that it is just wasting resources. It's not sustainable for the environment, and it just means you're never going to get through all the bottles. So if you just like having crap piled up on your wall, and I know people love taking pictures of hundreds of bottles sitting there. If you get off on that and that's your thing, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm saying for me personally, and for the average person, what I recommend is buy smaller bottles. You'll get more enjoyment, you'll get more use, and you'll actually get to your bottles. And you're not going to have 100 years, 50 years, or 30 years of supply built up that you'll never, ever get to. It will have been a complete waste of money if you have that many bottles in those large sizes. You might as well just flush the money down the toilet and just taking a picture of someone else's fragrance collection, because it's the same thing. You're not using it. This is Joel the Nose. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you found this useful and beneficial. I'll be back soon, of course, from Los Angeles, where I am now, still, with another video soon. Thanks a lot for watching.